Welcome everyone to Unscripted Coding. A few weeks ago, we built an AI tool, 15 minutes, real-time, from scratch. And that's what you're looking at right here. Text extractor. It's not pretty to look at, but in 15 minutes, we built a really useful tool that could grab all the names, all of the dates, all of the objects, or anything out of a bunch of text. And in this case, let's just say grab all of the objects out of this text. It uses AI, goes to OpenAI, and gets a response, and creates a list of all of the presumably nouns in this paragraph. Today, I wanted to build yet another tool, but having a foundation here buys us a bit of time. So I'm going to try and spend 14 minutes today to build another tool. The tool I'm trying to build is a comparison tool. Now, there are many of these online, and diff match patch is one such tool in which if you compare two pieces of text, it will show you what has been removed and what was added. Just red text, green text. Now, I use these a lot at work, comparing two different texts. And so you can imagine that I'll switch this around to have two text areas instead. But what I was hoping to do is create another option in which you can use AI to ask it for an explanation. What is the actual difference? I don't care the subtleties of what was added and what was removed. I care about what actually happened in the text. So, we're going to go back here. This is the original that we had, and I need to see the word wrap so I can see everything. This is our bit of code here, 106 lines. You have my OpenAI key here. Don't even bother trying. It will have been removed at this point. But we're going to do AI text comparison. So, we're going to need two different text areas. And we'll call it text area 1 and text area 2. We'll have a submit button. We might have a couple others. And so, we now have text area 1 and text area 2. Be sure to check out the earlier video in which I walked through what this code is, but very simply I was pulling that text input, and this might be helpful here, this text input and this text area, and submitting. Very simple in the HTML, and when we click submit, we send a prompt with the text that we had, and basically send it to an API, a GPT API, get the response, and throw it back into the app. Very simple. You just have to follow the magic formula. In this case, we don't actually have to change all that much. So we have two text areas here, and I think this looks quite good. We'll have to adjust our prompt, so I'm going to just leave some lines here. We'll take out the console, and we're going to send the same message here. Okay, so let's see. I will give you two pieces of text that are similar. Can you explain what the difference between the two sections, the two selections are? Please note how much of the text has changed, whether the meaning has changed, and any other insights you might have. Text 1. So there's my prompt. I don't know if it's any good. I'm going to put some new lines between each of these. I'm going to, I put some new lines in between each of these so that there is some space in between. And then we should get a response, an explanation. Let's go explanation instead, so we know what we're looking for. Okay, I think that should work that should work simply enough. So we'll save this, we'll refresh, and we're going to take this example right here. Oh. Here we go. The main difference between the two selections is the content and theme. Text 1 is a verse from the song I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General. It describes the speaker as a knowledgeable, well-rounded individual, blah blah blah. Text 2, on the other hand, seems to be a set of instructions or a guide about interacting with objects in a video game or some kind of interactive media. So I didn't actually read these texts. So, of course, I am the very model of a modern major general. And then the next one, I see. There was some leftover text from before. I am the very model of a cartoon individual. So let's try this one more time, because there was some leftover here. I think I might need to refresh and paste these all over again. Okay. And I think it'll always help to have the developer tools on the side here. Okay, let's see. Text 2 portrays the speaker as a cartoon individual. They mention their expertise, blah blah blah. Text 1 and Text 2 have completely different subject matter and examples. However, the overall structure and rhyme scheme remain the same in both texts. That is excellent. I didn't know if AI would catch that. And what I'm going to do here is actually incorporate another feature. So diff match patch has an open source set of code here. So I am going to just throw this entire section. You know what? Let's take the raw, copy it, paste it entirely in another script block. And so I will comment right here that this is diff match patch from GitHub. And that adds like 2,000 lines. But what I can do is do another button here. So let's call this one AI compare. And we will call this classic compare. And we'll call this button 2. We'll have another call a function here. So when button 2 is called, I want to run diff match patch. And we have a demo so we can understand what actually happens when we when this happens. So on click, and I should zoom in here. On click, they run launch. And here in this case, launch does this. So I will copy this entirely, this entire function here. I don't need these brackets. think this should exist outside. Okay. And we called it text area 1 and text area 2. Okay, just stealing a bit of code here now. If I go back to my text comparison, I have 2 buttons now. And, apologies, we need an output div. So we need somewhere to post the response as well. Let's refresh, and we click Classic Compare. Diff match patch is not defined. I think, unfortunately, this needs to live after this script tag. Let's try this one more time. Classic compare. Get element ID is null. So let me see here. Timeout value. Oh, I see. They had a couple values in here. Timeout value, not this one right here, was 1 second. So in this case, let's not go overly technical here. Let's go with 1. Edit cost. Where did they get edit cost here? 4. So we're just throwing in the right numbers here. And let's refresh again. And I notice my time is starting to run out. So let's get this working. No, still an issue. Semantic. Okay. Both times we did the semantic cleanup. So I'm going to take this out, delete this, and we will do the semantic cleanup every time. Let's refresh. There we go. Perfect. I don't really need this timer thing. And there we have it. So I can do a comparison here. There's the classic compare, and then there is an AI comparison as well. It just takes a moment to actually get an answer, and we get an explanation. Now this is a very long explanation, so with the last little bit of time, I wanted to adjust this prompt to say say short explanation. Keep your explanation to a maximum of 3 sentences. Try to note how much of the text has changed. Okay, one last shot here. So classic compare, very easy. I wish I could do something about this one, but much shorter. Difference between 1 and 2 is that the subject matter has changed from a well-rounded major general to a comic and eccentric cartoon character. Both texts maintain a similar structure and rhythm, but text 2 introduces new elements such as animation, comedy, physical humor, etc. So that is excellent. And I have, I plan to do a lot of tests more on the legal side for this comparison. And so we just hit 15 minutes. We are in a good position, but I wanted to show you guys what I wanted to actually use this for. So, Law Insider is a great a library of legal clauses. I don't think very many people care. But let's look at two different indemnity clauses and see what our AI tool thinks. Let's do the first two. And so I wanted to use this for specific contract provisions. It's very hard to see what's actually changed with all this red and green, but if an AI can, and actually I should do this fresh, if an AI can actually explain the difference between the two texts, the roles and responsibilities of the parties involved. Text 1, vendor agrees to indemnify TIPS and its members, arising from performance of their agreement. In text 2, company agrees to indemnify warrant agents, so two different relationships, against gross negligence, willful misconduct, or bad faith. The wording of the two suggests they are addressing different agreements and parties involved. Really, really excellent explanations here. So you can see if you go through any clauses in Law Insider, there are like hundreds of thousands of variations, and sometimes they look very similar. And as you know, law, sometimes a period, a comma, a single word can make a major difference. And so you want both of these side by side, and that's a really helpful tool that I hope I will be using soon enough. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this was inspirational. We did yet another tool in 15 minutes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.